Hello everyone, welcome to our success video. And today we're going to talk about empathy. I talked about it a little bit on the kindness video, but today I want to amplify this. I want to highlight it because as an employee, you need to develop this power skill. Empathy, Stephen Covey said, and I want to read this to you. He said that when you show deep empathy towards others, the defensive energy goes down and positive energy replaces it. That's when you can get more creative in solving problems. So if you want to be a problem solver, you need to practice empathy. Empathy, like I said, is a power skill. It's the ability to walk in somebody else's shoes and feel what they feel. And what this does, it enlarges your horizon. You know, research tells us that our brain is hardwired to feel to mirror other people's experiences. So that's why babies want to hear other babies cry and talk, as opposed to adults. We gravitate towards things that are similar to us. And so it is important for you to know that when you understand somebody and you see where they're coming from, you move a little bit closer to them. You bridge the gap a little bit. And so being able to see another person's motives and actions from their point of view is crucial to an organization's overall success. So if you want to be a part of solving problems and not the problem, then you need to develop an empathy. So in a 2018 study on workplace empathy, it shows that 96% of employees actually said that it was important for employers to demonstrate empathy, and 75% said that they would leave their organization if there was no empathy. So we all think this is important. This is vital. And there are a few benefits to this. First one is collaboration. It is a hugely important aspect of empathy, because when we all collaborate as departments, as teams, being empathetic in brainstorming sessions and meetings shows that you are invested in the other people, that you're encouraging them, that you respect them, and you want to hear their point of view. This way, empathy leads to an opening of new ideas and ways to solve problems, so you can get things done faster. It also improves the morale and the confidence in the room. When people feel like they're being heard, then they're going to talk more. You're going to generate a lot more feedback. And so this is also important. Companies that are empathic they allow people to make mistakes. There's room for growth, because then we're all in this together. So if you like my idea today, great. I feel like I have a buy-in to the company. But if you are constantly punitive and something goes wrong, you just whack them on the head and you write them up and that's the end of that. No, let's seek to understand what they're coming from. Let's seek, because behind that employee who seems like they're struggling, if you just took a minute to see what's going on, you might get yourself a good employee, or you can either train up or train out. Sometimes maybe they're just not the perfect fit for you, so for the company. So then you help them find what's good for them. Like I always say, it's always a win-win situation, people. Nobody has to lose just so you can win. Always remember that. Win-win situation. In a Forbes article, I loved some of the things that they said concerning empathy. Actually, they were a strong advocate for this. They said we shouldn't call it a soft skill, like I've been saying. It is a hard skill. It is important to the economic viability of your company, and I will say that is important for your growth as a person. So one of the things it would help you develop is identity. identity. Empathy affects our own identity. We tend to understand ourselves through the people that we spend time with, and we derive our own sense of self from the types of people who we were, who we're close to. So it's important that we begin to understand them and we begin to see where they're coming from. The other thing it will help you do is cooperation. Empathy facilitates cooperation, which is critical for teams to develop, for teams to function effectively. In that particular study that we talked about, when empathy was introduced into decision making, it increased cooperation and caused people to be more empathetic. So empathy fosters more empathy. A team that practices empathy would be a very high functioning team. So I want you to really begin to open your minds a little bit. You become more innovative. Empathy can expand your horizon and extend your thinking, because somebody at your table is going to say something that you haven't heard before. And so you're going to explore it. You're going to test new perspective and new ideas. It doesn't mean you're going to swallow it all. It just means that if it's beneficial, you're going to receive it well. And even if you don't take the whole thing, maybe you're going to take a little bit of it and actually adapt it for your own teams. That's how this works. So we're all at the same table. It's like a bowl of salad, you have the radish, you have the lettuce, you have the tomatoes, you have all of these things in this bowl, and you eat it all together, and wow, delicious, right? That's what it is. And so, you know that even though we have differences in opinions, it causes you to grow. You don't stagnate. And that's another thing, you don't stagnate, because you don't need to go to school to go learn engineering. You don't need to go to school to go learn a different skill set, because you have to develop yourself. But maybe somebody from engineering department is going to see it a little bit differently from somebody from the psychology department, from somebody from, the science department. So this is how this works. It helps you grow. Don't isolate and say you're only going to listen to people who think like you, to people who like the same things that you like. Maybe that particular thing that you're trying to throw away would help you grow. Okay. And the last thing was influence. In addition to the benefits of empathy to the community, empathy is also good for you individually, because it allows you to be influential. Yeah, because now when you understand where the other person is coming from, when you want to influence them, that would be your starting point. Commonality. That would be your starting point, because now you know where they're coming from. So you're going to take it from there a little bit further. Does that make sense? So so practice empathy at work, and also practice it professionally. Be your best self. Empathy and action is important, because we can talk about empathy all we want. If you don't add action to it, well, it's not effective. We want you to be effective. So there are two ways in which you can empathize. You can empathize by considering somebody's thoughts. You can say, if I were in their shoes right now, what would I be thinking? Based on what has happened here, what would I be thinking? That's called cognitive empathy, when you're thinking of what they will be thinking. The second thing you can do is you can say, well, if I were in their position right now, what would I be feeling? How would I be feeling? That is called emotional empathy. And so actually, of course, the best way to do this is to actually just ask them. Ask them how they're feeling or what they're thinking. That way you don't have to, you don't have to imagine it. But, either you're practicing emotional empathy or the golden standard, which is to actually ask them, or the cognitive empathy. The most important thing is what happens next, and that should be action. So that should be action. It's basically you saying, well, I'm going to engage in certain behaviors based on the information that I have. based on the information that I have. So it enables you to take action and to say, well, how am I going to contribute to this? How am I going to add to the body of knowledge? How am I going to become that one who is a problem solver, who is a solutionist and not the problem. So you always need to use empathy as a stepping stone to do something positive. So you can use empathy to sell ideas. You can use it to connect to your colleagues. You can accomplish more in your teams because of empathy, and you can expand your own horizon. So that is it for today. I wish you well, and remember, you can find me at AkinMarino.com or at AkinMarino on Instagram and on Twitter. I'll see you next time. Bye.